We. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai. Yai lai yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai. Yai lai yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. Shana Tova, a good and sweet new year. Shabbat Shalom, a Shabbat of peace. Welcome to everybody. We're going to start with some opening words from our Congregational Board President, Rebecca Groves.
Oh, no. Can you hear me? All right, good. Shana Tova. It is so wonderful to see all of you here and to welcome you here. Tonight, we gather to welcome in the new year. I recently came across an article by Rabbi Elliot Gertel entitled On Transitions and found something in it quite interesting. It stated that the Hebrew word for year is Shana, and it's related to the Hebrew word for change or transition, shinui. And if you happen to attend one of our Cabby Reimagined events this past year, you probably heard me talk a lot about transitions. When I think of change or transition, it is with a mixture of excitement and fear. And it may be the same for you as well. What helps to alleviate some of the fear of the unknown for me is grounding myself in something that is secure, something known in the midst of the unknown, no matter how different one year may be from the next. And we only have to look back a couple of years through COVID to recognize this truth. No matter how different one year may be from the next, the Torah guides us through our Jewish year with the same stories in the same order, and provides us with a stable foundation no matter what the unforeseen may bring. As we begin this new year of transition, of Shinui in Cabby too has a foundation that grounds us in times of change. We have each other. Let me share some of these grounding strengths with you. Cabby is alive and well and on solid financial ground. We are mortgage free, and thanks to those of you who have already made your annual financial commitments, we are off to a good start in this fiscal year. Your support helps us provide the programming that enhances and enriches our Jewish lives. Leading us through our upcoming year are two very important committees. Our Rabbi Search Committee, co-chaired by Steve Barrenter and Rachel Pichette, and our Transition Committee, headed by Cabby's Vice President, Betsy Russell. They, along with the Cabby Board of Trustees, are working tirelessly and diligently to ensure a smooth transition. And they are not alone. We have the support of URJ, the Union of Reform Judaism, and the CCAR, Central Conference of American Rabbis, who have trained professionals experienced in just the sort of challenges we will face to help guide us through. Our executive director, Roy Ledesma, has put processes and procedures in place to help establish a well-run organization. Using Cabby's 4 pillars, lifelong learning, spiritual growth, community, and social justice, as his guideposts, he has staff in place to help build and sustain our core values. Beth Harbison, our Director of Lifelong Learning, oversees a vibrant and growing Jewish community school from pre-K to teen leadership programs involving our youth through high school graduation. Numerous opportunities for adult education have been implemented over the past couple of years, both in-person learning as well as online classes, allowing us to connect with Jews throughout the United States. To Beth and the dedicated teachers who feed our desire to learn more about what it means to be Jewish in today's world, thank you. Joanna Jost and Kaylee Cusimano work to provide support for the countless programs and engagement opportunities CABI has to offer. They have worked throughout the summer to improve our communication and website so we can better spread the news of upcoming events. And we have seen a positive response. We are seeing an upsurge in new individuals and families seeking to affiliate with CABI, and we currently have 7 new community engaging programs, also known as CABI Corners, up and running. Sunday Hoopsters, Mahjong Mondays, Young Professionals, 20s and 30s Group, CABI Reads, Bereavement Group, Rosh Kodesh, just to name a few. Our 128th Gala celebration was a huge success. Many of you probably were there. And we will continue to honor and celebrate our past with CABI's Jubilee on October 22nd. I hope you will all join us as we reenact our journey with a pilgrimage walk from the original Ahavath site at Bannock Street to the corner of State and 11th, where our historic synagogue once called home, to the cemetery where we will honor our past, and then to this very campus where we will celebrate over 163 years of Jews living in this area with Jewish history, music, and of course, food. And speaking of food, feeding our bellies as well as our souls, Joanna, along with Eddie and Isabel, provide weekly JCS dinners, monthly Shabbat catered dinners, and fresh baked challah, as well as holiday fare for all to enjoy. The success of these meals programs not only provide sustenance, they provide community. Adults joining in to eat dinner with students on Wednesday nights, diverse members of our community coming together to share a Shabbat meal. It is wonderful to see the energy and involvement that has evolved from something as simple as breaking bread together. Under the direction of Katie Herstein, our newly named Director of Social Justice, the Social Justice Committee has a continuing commitment to issues that speak to repairing our world, with a focus on reproductive justice, climate justice, combating anti-Semitism and hate, and combating hunger and food insecurity. We have forged alliances with outside organizations when our values have coincided with theirs, assisting BSU with hosting the Americans in the Holocaust exhibit, increasing our collaboration with organizations such as the ADL, the Wasmus Center, and Interfaith Sanctuary, and hosting our first annual Climate Justice Fair. And of course, Rabbi Dan leading our spiritual growth with the help of an active group of lay leaders who have stepped up and are continuing to learn to help guide our community as we worship together. Without our volunteers, much of what we do could not be done. Our volunteers are our bedrock of strength, from serving on one of our various committees to caring for those in our community through participation in the Chicken Soup Group, Hever Kadisha, and outreach, to helping our amazing staff by being a CABI ambassador, greeter, or front desk volunteer. You bring us together and strengthen us. Tomorrow at our CABI Community Rosh Hashana Luncheon, we honor all of you who so generously give of your time and talents. Everyone is welcome to attend, and there is no registration or cost. I hope you will all join me in celebrating our amazing volunteers. And finally, our biggest strength, you, our community. Transitions can be unsettling. Change can be challenging. But knowing the strength we each individually and collectively bring to the table reassures me, and I hope it reassures you as well. We have faced times of change before. The merger, hiring a full-time rabbi for the first time, the move from our locations at Bannock and at State Street. During each of those times, we felt unsettled. We feared what changes may occur. They may be facing too much for us, but in each instance, we work together. not only survived the challenge, but thrived. Our strength is in our community, and that is a foundation hard to shake. Thank you.
Yesher Koach to Becky. A few things to note as we get started. First, if you are joining us online, if you're streaming on our webpage with High Holidays, there is a link to the virtual Siddur so that you can follow along on Wings of Awe. And if you are here, this is the time to turn off your devices. Even if you're not here and you're streaming, you should turn off your other devices. But the idea is we want to be fully present in this moment in community with one another. So all the things that connect us with the outside world, we're going to turn them off and turn in to being together with one another this evening. We do have childcare available inside, and if you need to use the restroom, it is also inside in the other building. You have to just go around the long way rather than through the double doors right here. So back through the front door. Finally, in addition to Rosh Hashana, it is also Shabbat. So as you work your way through your Machzor, you'll notice there are some additional readings, and it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. This is not designed to be a performance by those of us up here. It's a community endeavor. This is not a spectator sport. This is we're all in it together. So we're going to start with Pitchu Li, Open to Me the Gates of Justice on page 5.
Pitchu li sha'arei tzedek avova modeya. Pitchu li sha'arei tzedek avova modeya. Adonai tzadikim yavovu vo zeh hashar l'Adonai tzadikim yavovu vo.
Open to me the gates of justice that I may enter into them and give thanks to the Holy One. A psalm for the Shabbat day on page 7.
Mizmor
Shir liyom HaShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatcha b'leilot, Alei asor v'alei navel, alei higayon bechinot. Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat,
tov lehodot l'Adonai, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Becoming alay mereim tishmana oznai, page 8.
צדיק אתה
Dikatamar Yifra Ke'erez Balbanon Yikeshet Ulim Bebeit Adonai בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו עוד ינובון בשיבה דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי צורי ולא עוולתה בו. Yedid Nefesh, you who love my soul, compassionate, gentle source, take me and shape me like a darting deer, I flee to you. Page 10, I'd like to invite Len Levitt, who will lead us. Yedid Nefesh Avarachman, Yedid Nefesh Avarachman, Meshochav Decha, Eretz Sonecha, Meshochav Decha, Yelalai Lai Lai Eretz Sonecha. We rise as able for Baruch Hu on page 13.
Prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yalla lie, 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 yalla lie, 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 yalla lie, 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 yalla lie, 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 yalla lie.
Please be seated. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns, keep going. Borei Yom, בלילה, גולל אור מפני חושך, גולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim. Page 15.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך. ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה. חסר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני עובד עמו ישראל.
I invite you to take a moment before Shema. If you feel comfortable doing so, close your eyes. Shema means to listen. But it's hard to listen. Sometimes the world is so busy, we've forgotten how. But the letters of the word Shema teach us. We start with Shin. Shh. The hum of the universe. When we listen, we hear it. We end with Shema. Listen.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha V'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha V'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh Asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha V'shinantam levanecha V'divarta bam V'shivtecha b'veitecha U'lechtecha b'derech U'kshochbecha u'kumecha U'kshartam le'ot al yadecha V'hayu l'totafot b'neinecha U'chavtam al mezuzot beitecha U'visharecha Page 23, Vayomer Adonai Moshe Lemor Daber al Bnei Yisrael V'amarta Alehem V'asu lahem tzitzit al kanfei v'dehem l'dorotam V'nanu atzitzit akanaf b'til techelet V'yalachem l'tzitzit uritam oto zachartam Ekol mitzvot Adonai v'sitam otam V'lo taturu acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem asher atem zunim achareihem L'ma'an tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim le'elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lihiyot lachem l'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Amen. Page 27. Kabbalists tell us that God, in creating the world, took some of its fresh, new light and poured it into each of the vessels of the spheres of the universe. But such powerful light was stronger than the vessels, so they weakened and cracked while the precious light spilled out, falling down and down through all the worlds until they reached into the lowest world, our own. As sparks of light fell down, they took on forms and embedded themselves in physical things, wood and water, plants and paper and living creatures. Always since that time, the sparks yearned to return to the source of all that light, the single holy light from which they fell. And so when we do a mitzvah with food or plants or paper or another human being, when we thank the Creator for having formed this beautiful, strong, and fragrant thing, we awaken the spark of light within, and suddenly its fire starts to grow and it rises, flaming higher and higher and higher, soon to be reunited with its source. As we have the power through each mitzvah we do to redeem the sparks of light, in just such a way, God redeems us. Embedded by the tyranny of the Egyptians, we awoke to Adonai long ago to rise to our higher destiny of reunion with the divine. As each generation is remembered in its own time's tyranny, so do we look to the redemption of the holy spark in each of us, ready, each of us, when our redemption time shall come, to soar upward to the light from which we sprang and from which our beings draw their breath. As we sing the song of the redeemed, standing jubilant upon the reed sea's shore, we tune our mind, our body, our every sense to each song, each prayer, each gesture that we form, so that we too may awaken every spark whose time it is to soar. Michamocha, a song of liberation, page 29. Michamocha, ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל Yisrael. Ashkivenu, a prayer for shelter, for peace. As you listen, you might hold close in your heart a place or a person or a thing that brings you shelter, that gives you a feeling of safety and security. Ashkivenu, page 30.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Ashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Ashkivenu, Leshalom. Vehamidenu, Shomreinu Lechayim. Uvros Aleinu, Sukkot Shlomecha. Ashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Ashkivenu, Leshalom. Ashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Ashkivenu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Baruch atah Adonai, apore sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. The Shamru, page 32.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני, את השמיים ואת
הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
וביום השביעי, וביום השביעי, שבת שבת
וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Tikuva Chodesh, sound tekiah on the shofar and the new moon of Tishri, at the dark of the moon, the time of our holy day, for it is a law for Israel, a judgment by the God of Jacob.
תקעו בחודש שופר, בכסל ליום חגנו, כי חוק לישראל הוא משפט לאלוהי
Yaakov. It's 34.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
אמן.
ועלמד יברח חירותי והמליך מלכותי,
בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב תאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רב המבורך לעולם לא מעולמיה יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתבר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה.
בריחו
לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה,
תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא, דמירן בעלמא, דאמרו amen. A meditation and preparation for tefillah. There isn't a right answer. There just isn't. The game show where the bells ring and the points go up and the confetti falls because you got the answer is a lie. The preacher who would assure you of how to attain salvation is making it all up. The doctor who knows just how to fix what ails you will be sure of something else tomorrow. Every choice will wound someone, heal someone, build a wall, and open a conversation. Things will always happen that you can't foresee, but you have to choose. It's all we have. That little rudder that we employ in the midst of all the eddies and rapids, the current that pulls us inexorably toward the sea. The fact that you are swept along by the river is no excuse. Watch where you are going. Lean in toward what you love. When in doubt, tell the truth. We rise as able for tefillah, beginning on page 37.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי אגיד תהילתך.
Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei
שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור הנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. זוכרנו לחיים, מלך חפץ בחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים. מלך חוזר ומשיח ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה.
Amen. Page 40.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים הכתריו להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני אחר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך ברחמים זוכה לתורה וחיים ברחמים, ונאמר אתה לחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הארץ.
Kadosh Hashem Zakadosh Hashem Yom Yehalalukha Salam. Continue on our own, the Hebrew, the English, or your own heart's prayers and meditations through page 54. טוב כי לא חלכם כתם זדכם אלם גיבינו כי אלפם ותצר שלכם אפלכם אלם אחד אני רפסן ואת שלכם
שלום רב על ישראל, עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל, עמך תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל, עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל, עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל. בכל עת ובכל שעה, בכל עת ובכל שעה, בכל עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל, עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל, עמך תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום, ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
We begin in the spring of 1983 with my Hebrew Union College admissions interview. For most of my undergraduate career, I had planned to go on to study law. So when I unexpectedly shifted course and applied to rabbinical school at the last minute, I was left with a significant hole in my resume. While I had grown up in a very Jewish household, the son and grandson of Reform rabbis, over the past 4 years, I had taken an extended sabbatical from Judaism, failing to attend even a single Hillel, Seder, or bagel brunch. So I don't recommend this, college students out there. This is to address that glaring gap. My application essay highlighted the powerful spirituality I experienced in the natural world. A religiosity born on childhood Shabbat walks in the woods with my parents, and nurtured during my college years backpacking and canoeing in the Blue Ridge Mountains. I wrote about finding a place in creation that opened my heart and nourished my soul. My words weren't eloquent or adequate, but they were honest, which is why I didn't expect the belligerent lead-off question from the committee chair, who admonished What does all of that nature crap have to do with Judaism? I was speechless. I must have eventually offered some response, given that they ultimately let me in. Nature, nonsense, and all. But to this day, I don't recall a word of my reply. But the challenge never really left me. Intended as a kind of rebuke or intimidation, it grew into an unexpected blessing, a touchstone of my career. I have leaned into that question throughout the last 40 years, my rabbinic lifetime of wandering in the wilderness. Shortly after ordination, I explored the relationship between Judaism and nature in my first book, whose title I drew from God's advice to Job, "Let the earth teach you Torah." Since then, I've refined and reframed and sometimes significantly rethought my views in academic articles, popular essays, poems, and many sermons along the way. Wherever my journeys have taken me, I have tried to listen and learn. As a newly minted rabbi walking 1,000 miles on the southern half of the Appalachian Trail, on sabbaticals, hiking around Mount Meron in the Upper Galilee, trekking in the Himalayas, climbing glaciers in Patagonia, paddling over my ancestral Lithuanian waterways. I've wrestled with the meaning of that nature stuff on raging rivers and alpine lakes, red rock deserts, granite peaks, and under the cool protective shade of the blue spruce just outside my bedroom window. I have been lucky to share many of those adventures with family members. For others, I have been on my own. But I have never really traveled alone, because wherever I have gone, I've enjoyed the company of the more than human world, the birds and beasts, trees and stones and streams that share this glorious planet with us. I'm learning still to understand their unique tales and tongues, most recently in my work as a forest therapy guide. To this day, my love of Judaism and nature continues to grow. Now, more than ever, I seek solace and sacredness in wild spaces. And it is my great joy to listen with you, my beloved congregation, and recall the 29 years that we have traveled together on retreats in McCall, backpacking with generations of Cabby teens in the Sawtooths, floating down the Colorado River outside of Moab, gathering for summer Shabbat services beneath the pines at Catherine Albertson Park, working in our community garden, and of course, celebrating the days of awe beneath this shared tent. So what have we discovered along the way? What does nature have to do with Jewish life? In good rabbinic fashion, let me respond by way of a story. Reb Yaakov Yitzchak Halevi, later known as the Seer of Lublin, grew up near a forest. Every afternoon, he would go off into the woods. His parents could see that he drew strength from this practice, and they trusted his judgment. But being good Jewish parents, they sometimes worried. So one day they asked where and why he went. "It's simple," he said. "I go to the forest to find God." "That's lovely," said his parents, "but you should know that you can do that right here at home too. We say Shema, right? God is one and the same. God is the same, and God is everywhere. Well, noted Reb Yaakov, God may be the same everywhere, but I'm not. I'm different in the woods, and that changes everything. Friends, this is why I, and I suspect many of you, seek spiritual sustenance in the natural world, because we are different there. We're less driven and distracted, more generous, we're more reflective and open. And I believe the heart of that difference, the profound shift in perspective that we experience amidst the vastness of creation, is first and foremost about awe. In his book, God in Search of Man, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel points to awe as the foundation of Jewish life. He notes, the meaning of awe is to realize that life takes place under wide horizons that range beyond the span of an individual life. Awe enables us to perceive in the world intimations of the divine, to sense in small things the beginnings of infinite significance, to feel in the rush of the passing the stillness of the eternal. Nature inspires awe. It makes us feel simultaneously small and expansive, bit players in an infinite universe, yet blessed to know that we are part of something grand and miraculous. Awe is the beginning of wisdom. Our forefather Jacob recognized this when he awakened from his dream of a ladder connecting heaven and earth and proclaimed, Ma norah hamakom hazeh, how awesome is this place. This is the gate of heaven. Awe is where the Holy One dwells. For Henry David Thoreau, awe is synonymous with wildness, which he described as the preservation of the world. Thoreau recognized that for all of our vaunted civilization, in the end, our aspirations of control are mostly illusory. To know wildness is to remember and celebrate that we are not always the top of the food chain. This aspect of awe is even more explicit in the Hebrew, where the word for it, yirah, also can mean fear. But while both meanings point to our relative powerlessness, fear causes us to shrink from the object that inspires it, whereas awe draws us near. Yirah also means to see and to be seen. Awe is about seeing and being seen by something larger than ourselves. A little over a month ago, with my daughter and her partner and my friend and colleague, Rabbi David Fine, I paddled the North Fork of the Flathead River along the western border of Glacier National Park. It's grizzly country. So before setting up camp every night, we'd inspect the potential site for scat, for paw prints, for any evidence of bears. This was both scary and invigorating. As Rabbi Lawrence Kushner recognizes in a chapter from his book, Invisible Lines of Connection, he writes, the first time my wife and I were up in the mountains of Montana, we were awed and a little frightened by the scale and power of the wilderness. Everywhere, signs warned of bears. Karen and I drove up to the end of the road at Two Medicine Lake, where there was a log cabin, general store, and a little boat where you can ferry to the trailhead on the far shore. Inside, having a cup of coffee, I met Charlie Slocum, who spends his summers working for the Park Service. In the pristine air, I understood why he had returned now for a score of summers. But I was also more than casually concerned about being eaten by a grizzly. Get many bears up here, do you? I asked. Sometimes we get quite a few. How about that easy trail around the lake over there? Any chance of running into any this morning so near the store? He paused long enough to hear the question behind the question, and then took a slow sip of his coffee. If I could tell you for sure there wouldn't be any bears, it wouldn't be a wilderness now, would it? I thanked him for his candor, and we went on our hike. Maybe that's all it ever comes down to. You can walk where things are predictable, or you can enter the wilderness. Without the wilderness, there is neither reverence nor revelation. That's it, in a nutshell. For so much of our lives, like it or not, we wander in the wilderness where there are all kinds of bears out there. It's scary. There are no easy paths to the promised land. Without awe, there is no reverence or revelation. There is no Sinai. There is no Torah. Without wildness, without nature, there is no Judaism. In the tamed technological civilization we inhabit most of the time, we can forget this truth. We can deceive ourselves into believing that we humans are masters of the universe. But that illusion has led us down the road to disaster. Today's catastrophic climate change is rooted in our pursuit of material comforts and conveniences at the expense of future generations and the rest of God's creation. The crisis is at heart a spiritual one. And hope lies in recovering our sense of awe, reorienting our relationship with the natural world toward reciprocity and respect. This is the essential project of these holy days, which is why we call them Yamim Noraim, the days of awe. Perhaps the best known prayer of the season, which we recite like a mantra again and again, reiterates that message. Avinu Malkeinu Chanenu Va'anenu Kiyein Banu Ma'asim. Holy One, be gracious to us, for our human deeds are as nothing before you. To pray, to plead for grace, is the ultimate expression of awe, of surrender. It is to put our own deeds into perspective, to acknowledge that life really does unfold under vast horizons, so unimaginably greater than us. This is the essential spiritual wisdom for our Anthropocene age, and our experiences of wild nature remind us of its ancient truth. And while we're not all going to go out and wander in the wilderness with grizzlies, everyone can find sanctuaries of wildness in wind and weather, dawn and dusk, animal companions, starry skies, neighborhood parks, and backyard gardens. Like Torah, awe is neither far away in the heavens nor beyond the sea. It is in our mouths to praise and in our hearts to embrace. So what does Judaism have to do with nature? Everything, which is why we're here tonight. You can learn a lot about a culture the way it measures time. Christians number years Anno Domini, from the birth of their Lord. The Islamic calendar begins with Muhammad's move from Mecca to Medina. While there are several Buddhist New Years celebrated by different regional traditions, they all celebrate the Buddha's journey of enlightenment. So too, Hindus and Chinese and many other have New Years that mark significant occasions, mythological and historical, in the annals of their own particular communities and stories. But we Jews, we reckon time beginning long before there was a Jewish people, with the creation of the whole world. Today, on Rosh Hashanah, we proclaim Hayom Harat Olam. This day celebrates the birth of the entire breathtaking universe. Never mind, the rabbis are off 13.7 billion years in their timetable. That's just a quibble with logistics. The point is, our tradition is anchored in a story of the whole vast, expanding universe that each and every person is privileged to experience for the brief, but hopelessly brief, but also brilliantly beautiful moment that we are privileged to be here. If that is not awe, what is? Hayom Harat Olam. Today the world is conceived. As we sing these words that celebrate the world's birth, tomorrow morning we will sound the shofar. Its call is rough and raucous, an essential wild sound designed to shock our routine, dulled systems. As the prophet Amos asked rhetorically nearly 3,000 years ago, can the shofar be blown in the city and the people not tremble? And so, friends, let us listen and tremble together in awe and inspiration. And so begin the sacred labor of healing and hope that might guide us through this new year 5784. It has been my deepest pleasure and privilege to wander the wilderness with you all for the last 3 decades, and I look forward to sharing many milestones this last go-round. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will.
Gonna sing with us? Yeah.
page 59. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah me'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'gala u'v'zman kariv v'yemru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'omam lo me'omaya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitruman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha berichu le'ela le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma damiran bi'alma v'yamaru amen. Tid kabelzo davon dechol kadama v'hon kadavishmaya v'yamru amen. Yeshlom rabim t'may v'chaim alinu v'kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Ohosei shalom v'yamru mavu yasei shalom alinu v'kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. We rise as able. For Aleinu, it is on the sheet, your handout sheet.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא עשנו לשומרי האדמה, והוא שמנו לשליחי התורה, שהוא שם חיינו איתם, וגורלנו עם כל העולם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר ואדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. We recall now those of our congregation, community, family, friends who have died at this season in years past, all those who have died in recent days. We hold close those who have died over this past year. I invite the mourners and all whose custom it is to rise as able for Kaddish, beginning on the bottom of page 62. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah v'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael v'hagala uv'zman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam lo me'omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'pa'ar v'tromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha berichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'yamru amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'yol kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav huyasei shalom aleinu v'yol kol Yisrael. Amen. May the one who makes peace on high, let peace descend on us, on all Israel, on all the world. May comfort be with all who mourn, and let us say Amen. Please be seated. Tomorrow morning, we will continue with the Rosh Hashana morning service at 10 o'clock. There'll be a youth service also concurrently at 10:30. After the service, there is a lunch. Becky mentioned that in her greeting. We'll be welcoming everybody, honoring volunteers. 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Tashlich at Catherine Albertson Park, and 10 o'clock on Sunday for the second morning of Rosh Hashanah. Lots more. See your email blast for what's going on. And if you're not getting the email blast, let us know, because that's how you know what's going on. I want to thank all of our musicians, Shelley and our tech team, Elizabeth Ritual and our setup, our CABI staff, our president, Rebecca Groves, and special thank you to Hila Lenz, who is here again, gracing us with her beautiful voice and spirit. There is an oneg dessert reception and kiddush. Outside or inside? Outside. Okay, so just right over there. Immediately after our concluding song, and keep in mind, as always, we were having our drive for food and non-perishables. We have boxes from the food bank out, and please, if not tomorrow, then for Yom Kippur, bring, so that our fast on Yom Kippur can help those who are in need. Our oneg, thank you to our CABI board for sponsoring, and we're going to conclude with the Don Olam, which is on page 65.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נעשה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, ואחרי ככלות הכל לעדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא עובר, והוא יהיה לתפארה, והוא יהיה לתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להכירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור חבלי בעת צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוסי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, בידו אפקיד רוחי, בעת אישן בעירה, ואם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא, אדוני לי ולא יירא.
Shana Tova, Shabbat Shalom.